Can you ever have too many spider-themed heroes? Welcome back, Nerd Squad. It's me, Amanda, and the answer is of course you can't. Today we'll be counting down the top 10 Spider-Man variants we want in Beyond the Spider-Verse, the supposed final chapter in the Spider-Verse animated trilogy. Have you seen Across the Spider-Verse yet? And if so, what did you think of it? Let us know in the comments. Number 10. Night Spider. Night Spider is basically for fans who have ever wondered what it would be like if Black Cat became Spider-Man instead of Peter. Felicia Hardy is the spider-themed hero in her home reality of Earth 194. Felicia, however, didn't have any specific lessons in regards to great power comes with great responsibility in her origin story. Instead, she used her powers to continue a life of thievery and crime after inheriting them from a tarantula idol she stole. The idol bit her, giving her powers, which at first was awesome, but after a while led Night Spider to being unsatisfied since heists would become too easy for her. Looking for a new thrill, Night Spider decided to turn herself in to her best friend, police detective Jean DeWolf. Just as she was being transported back to the station after being arrested, the alternate spider hero Arana appeared and petitioned Night Spider to join her in a fight to defend the multiverse as part of the End of the Spider-Verse event. Night Spider agreed, escaped custody, and joined up with the rest of the Spider Army. Number 9. Lady Spider. So we did spot Lady Spider in Across the Spider-Verse. She was actually in the lobby area of Miguel O'Hara, aka Spider-Man 2099's HQ, but she wasn't one of the main characters in the story, and that is what I would like to see with her in Beyond the Spider-Verse. I love Lady Spider. She comes from a turn-of-the-century reality known as Earth 803. Her father, I believe, was an inventor, and Lady Spider herself became one too, building her own costume complete with spider harness and also web shooters. Honestly, this is a character I have wanted to cosplay for some time. I'm gonna do it eventually. I don't know how that harness is gonna happen, but I'll figure out a way. I just love her whole look. Lady Spider, while being an alternate version of Spider-Man, is also technically an alternate version of Aunt May somewhat too. Her civilian name is actually Maybelle Riley. And friends, before we move on to our next spot on this list, if you love what we do here at Top 10 Nerd, and if you love when we talk about Spider-Man and Spider-Man related stuff, be sure to check out our Spider-Man playlist. Number 8. Silk. How have we not had Silk yet in these films? Silk is by far one of the coolest spider alternates around, although she technically does not hail from another reality in the comics, but instead is actually from the main reality of Earth 616. So it would be interesting to see where they would place her in the animated multiverse. Silk is Cindy Moon, who actually was retconned to have been bitten by the exact same radioactive spider as Peter Parker, granting her similar abilities to him and initially creating a very strong bond between the two characters. Number 7. Arana. Anya Corazon is always an interesting one for me because she is quite unique in regards to her role in the Spider-Verse and her origin and her power set, or at least she used to be. In the comics, she was initially one of the more important characters when it came to the Spider-Verse event, as her powers are actually based in the realm of mysticism, being given to her through a magic spider tattoo and a whole spider society, and her powers allowed her to read and understand prophetic scrolls related to the great web of life and destiny. Of course, then later her power set was changed to more reflect the standard spider hero power set in the comics, but I'm kind of hoping if we see her in the film trilogy, she'll have more of that original power set, which could be just as helpful to our heroes in the animated multiverse as it was to our heroes in the comics multiverse. Number 6. Spider-Man UK. I feel like in the comics, Spider-Man UK was kind of robbed, a little bit snubbed if you will, and now I kind of feel like in the Spider-Verse films, he's also kind of been cheated too. He is one of the main characters from the first Spider-Verse event in the comics, who dies right near the start of the second event, which continues its story, Spider-Geddon. Spider-Man UK is Billy Braddock, who is basically a combo of Spider-Man and Captain Britain, hailing from Earth 833. He was one of the first people to realize the threat of the Inheritors and bring the Spider folks of the multiverse together, forming the Spider Army in the first comic book event. So he's kind of like what 2099 Spider-Man has become in terms of the animated multiverse. Billy also ended up going on to lead the Web Warriors at the end of the Spider-Verse comic book event, with Loom World becoming his new home base as his home reality had actually been destroyed. Sad. Number 5. Spider-Man. Spider-Man is literally one of my all-time favorites. Also, yes, This list is mostly a list of my favorite alternate spider people that I feel like I need to see in Beyond the Spider-Verse. And I can't believe we haven't gotten Spider-Man yet as a main character. I mean, not a main character, but I definitely would have thought we'd have gotten something involving Spider-Man in regards to sort of the supporting characters that are around, I would say, our two main co-stars, which have ended up being Miles and Gwen. Like the roles that Spider-Man Noir, Spider-Ham, Spider-Man, and Penny Parker's Spider played in the first part of the trilogy, Into the Spider-Verse. Or, you know, if you prefer, Penny Parker's SP//DR. Now granted, we did get a May Parker in the first movie, but she was the aunt of Earth 1610's Peter Parker, who tragically dies right near the beginning. Peter does, not Aunt May. That May Parker was awesome, but I still want to see Aunt May suit up as Spider-Man, who in her reality, which originated in a what-if story, became a spider-themed hero in Peter's place, with May as the hero there and Peter actually providing sort of hero support. Number 4. Kaine Parker. Kaine Parker is a character that I cannot believe we missed out on having to this point in the series. I mean, how could we have Ben Reilly without Kaine Parker? I gotta say, I hope we get Kaine and Beyond, and I hope he too is voiced by Andy Samberg, who apparently voices Ben Reilly, which is crazy to me. I love it. He did a ridiculously good job with voicing the most dramatic and moody Ben Reilly. I mean, if that's what he's working with for Ben, just imagine what he could do with Kaine, who is honestly even more moody in general, not just in terms of his 90s appearances either. For those who don't know Kaine, he was the first clone that the Jackal made of Spider-Man. This attempt was also kind of a wash, which meant initially that Kaine was actually deteriorating, suffering both mentally and physically as a result. Don't worry though, because later Kaine would be cured and now he lives on without fear of expiring after a certain length of time, as so many other clones in Spider-Man comics have tended to do. Most cases, clones have like a very short lifespan. Number 3. Spinneret. While not a straight up alternate version of Spider-Man, Spinneret is Mary Jane with powers who fights against crime alongside her husband and daughter in the Renew Your Vows reality. I love this world where Peter and MJ were actually allowed to grow up, settle down, have kids. I mean, we also have that courtesy of the reality known as Earth 982, but this world is more grounded in the modern day, and kind of feels like a world where in modern comics, Peter and MJ just, continued on with their love story and never had their marriage erased. In fact, that's exactly what it is. Renew Your Vows was a reality created during the 2015 Secret Wars event, where a few things differed. Chiefly for Peter and MJ that there was no civil war, which meant that they never had to give up their marriage to save Aunt May. While their daughter would get powers, Peter made MJ a suit to wear that basically siphons off some of his power to her, so that she can join them in the fight as the vigilante Spinneret. Number 2. Spiderling. Like her mom and her dad, Spiderling is also a hero. If you haven't guessed yet, we're talking about Peter and MJ's daughter from the reality of Earth 18119. The Renew Your Vows universe. Here, Spiderling is Anna May Parker, named after both MJ's and Peter's aunts. Anna May's nickname is not Mayday, but instead is Annie. And Annie actually wasn't their only daughter that they had. In this reality, they also had another daughter who was named May, presumably would have been this universe's Mayday, but May tragically was lost to them before Annie was ever born. As Spiderling, Annie has powers similar to her father's, which we also know he shares with her mother when they're both suited up, but her spider sense is actually more powerful than her dad's, giving her the ability to have visions of future events before they happen. She also has a strong connection to the web of life and destiny as the pattern maker, allowing her to manipulate the web to forge stronger connections and even use it to make mystical armor. Number 1. Superior Spider-Man. I mean, come on. Tell me you don't want to see Superior Spider-Man at some point in this universe. Definitely would love to see him as like one of the supporting characters here. Doc Ock is a character that I love from the comics, and his time as Spider-Man is straight up iconic and one of the most interesting Spider-Man stories we've had in the modern day. Now, the only thing for Beyond the Spider-Verse is that we don't know too much yet about Dr. Octopus in this reality, but that doesn't mean we couldn't get to know him and also see his own alternate self as Spider-Man incorporated into the story in this final part of the trilogy. I mean, Superior Spider-Man was a pretty key figure when it came to both the Spider-Verse and Spider-Geddon comic book events, so I think that makes sense. Also, we all know who Doc Ock is, so I don't think they really have to do a lot of exposition. Just have to be like, this is Doc Ock, he's got octopus arms, he's got a story, anyways, in this universe he's Spider-Man. There, I wrote it. It's done. Put it in. That's about it. Until next time, you stay nerdy, YouTube.